Oh my gosh, I have no integrity. I asked a basic question. In fact, 5 deadly questions for Trinitarians that they have not been able to answer. And they're so basic. They're not brain teasers. They're not brain scratchers. They're not head exploders. They're very basic questions. And they're rudimentary in nature. Okay? Not fully hard and fully easy to understand. They're fully easy to understand and fully easy to grasp. And that's why I've said that dialoguing with most Trinitarians is a waste of time. Now I would say it's probably about 99.9999999999999999999% of Trinitarians are a waste of time. And this is a classic example of it. At least have some integrity. You ask ridiculous questions. Oh yes, they're so ridiculous. They're so ridiculous to ask you guys, where in the scriptures is a Trinity ever taught? Where does anybody in the gospel ever try to make the case for it or present it to somebody or come up with an analogy? You guys do this all day long. Try to convince somebody that God's triune, try to come up with analogies. Those are ridiculous. 3 donuts or 1 donut kind of thing, right? That's ridiculous. Why is it ridiculous to have you show me where anybody in the gospel ever teaches this doctrine, to present it to anybody, to try and articulate it or make the case for it? That's all I'm asking. It's not rocket science here. It's like, you ask these ridiculous questions and expect them to fit your own flawed reasoning. Why is that flawed reasoning? It's a simple questions, in fact, 5. And the reason why I split them into 5 is to show you guys that nobody teaches this. To say, where is it taught? That's a pretty broad brush. But you can focus on any of them. You can answer a single one of my questions. But you guys can't do it. So now you're reduced to, these are ridiculous. Question why God didn't phrase something a certain way is a weak argument. I'm not asking why God didn't phrase something. First of all, God never phrases it, so that's a good point. But nobody ever teaches this. Okay, we're not left with riddles and hints about the crucifixion. Oh, there was a mountain. There was a sword. There was a spear. There was a Roman soldier. There was some vinegar. There was some water. There was some weeping and some wood. My God, why have you forsaken me? And the Gospel of John, see, they kind of left us with this little riddle patch that we have to figure out what happened. What happened there? I see some wood. I see a sword. I see a spear. I see a Roman soldier. My God, why have you forsaken me? I think Christ got hit in the head with a 2x4 and fell down and died. Yeah, no. I got a better idea. He got a sliver from the wood and he died of blood poisoning. Yeah. No, I got a better idea. The cross, before they hung him, it was up and then the wind blew and it knocked it over and it smacked him in the head and he fell down off of the cliff. That's what happened. See all the crazy stories that you could come up with if you're not told what actually happened? But fortunately for us, the apostles were not morons. They actually told us what happened. Jesus was crucified and he was raised from the dead. Those are clear teachings. But nobody in the gospel ever teaches or tries to convince anybody that God's a 3-person being. So instead of trying to answer my questions, this person is being passive aggressive. And he responded later saying, apparently you have no common sense because baptized in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, that's a Trinity right there. You just have no common sense. You can't see it. See, these people are very arrogant and obnoxious, and that's why I've muted the comments in the past, is because the Trinity has given these people a theological and intellectual lobotomy. Like they can't even think now. They become completely frazzled, bedazzled, judazzled, and stupefied to the point where they're not thinking anymore. So I just block people like this and move on. Maybe one comment, if that. But from now on, I'm probably just going to start blocking them because if they're not intellectually able to dialogue with me, if they're not going to bring me a concise argument or even attempt to answer them or even think about why they can't answer them, then these people are too far gone spiritually to engage with. Maybe sometime, maybe God will open their eyes, a seed will be planted. But for now, are you really going to have an intellectual conversation with somebody like this? No way, not going to happen. So the best thing to do is cut your loss, block them, cut your loss, and stick to the cross, and actually try to reach people that you think you can reach, and people that actually come on and have a valid argument. You're not going to persuade me to believe in your doctrine when you make constant excuses like this, when you run away from them and then say, these are ridiculous questions. Oh, yes, they're so ridiculous, meaning that you are teaching me this stuff. So that should be ridiculous, that you are teaching me this. You're presenting the Trinity, but yet you expect me to follow you when you call it ridiculous when I ask you to show me the same thing in the gospel being taught by somebody else. You say that's a ridiculous question. It shows the insanity of the Trinitarian doctrine and the ones that follow it.
Oh